Now on CoastTV News.
A curvy Cedar Beach road, a project to make things safer for cyclists, now on pause. Running out of the ocean and into 2026, how people rang in the new year coast style. The cost of healthcare going up, how much more thousands of Americans are now paying.
And some unwelcome wind chills are just around the forecast corner.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
A final report for a shared use path planned here. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf. We begin tonight with a project connecting Milford and Slaughter Beach, now on hold. This is Cedar Beach Road between South Rehoboth Boulevard and Dockside Drive, where the path connecting two areas has been talked about for years. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is in our newsroom. Emma, this specific project now is on hold.
Maddie, Slaughter Beach Mayor Harry Ward said the original intent of this path was to add a 5-foot shoulder to make things safer for cyclists on the road, but he said the project expanded into something much bigger, and what it became was no longer feasible for the area.
Lots of people ride their bike to come see this view, but to get here to Slaughter Beach, at least from places like Milford, you take this road, Cedar Beach Road, and it's here between South Rehoboth Boulevard and Dockside Drive, where the town of Slaughter Beach and the city of Milford have been debating putting a nearly 6-mile-long shared use path.
Initially, it was about safety.
Now, the town has made the project's final report public following a study. Slaughter Beach Mayor Harry Ward says what the project became wasn't feasible.
The study got into the hands of a consultant, and they made it into this huge project that was going to take it away from the side of the road. It was going to be a bike path that took much more of people's property.
Now the project will be paused, though it could be revisited in a couple of years. He hopes in a way that brings the path back to its original goal, a 5-foot shoulder on the road.
It was just there's any place that there's not a straight shot of sight. It was a dangerous area.
Some people we spoke with who live here on Cedar Beach Road say a shared use path would be a waste of money on a road that often floods during coastal storms, and they say the project would encroach on their property.
I think what we've done is kind of soured we've kind of soured the milk, in that now to go back and say, hey, it's something smaller, it's something more practical, I think it's going to take a number of years before people get that bad taste out of their mouth. And then they can come back and say, what we really wanted was a 5-foot shoulder.
So for now, the shared use path is at a standstill, with the project taking another curve along Cedar Beach Road.
Ward says that picking the project back up in the future would require the town to apply for grant money and partner with DelDOT. Maddie.
Emma, thank you. Delawareans may now file claims under the state's new paid leave program. Employers with 10 or more employees are required to provide up to 12 weeks of leave for a new child. Those with at least 25 employees must do the same and offer 6 weeks of paid leave every 2 years for an employee to care for a sick family member, recover from an illness, or handle a spouse's deployment. Employees will get 80% of their weekly wages, capping at $900 a week. And Delawareans we spoke with say this is a lifeline.
Never really know what could happen in life, and I just think that it's great to have more days for just in case anything does happen.
A similar program in Maryland starts in 2028. Previously, unless your employer had their own version of paid leave, all that was legally required was to offer 12 weeks of unpaid leave under a federal law, FMLA. And this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what kind of leave you think you would use the most. Let's take a look at the results. 67% of people who have voted say they won't use it. 20% say caregiver leave. 4% say medical leave. 9% say parental leave. If you haven't voted yet, please do so, coasttvnews.com or our mobile app. In Fenwick Island, people started their new year by running in and out of the ocean. This is the Fenwick Freeze. Enthusiastic participants galloped in the ocean while bundled up supporters hung on the sidelines. This is the 21st year of the Fenwick Freeze.
We all run in, hop in the water, and run right back out, realizing it was a bad idea. But it was a lot of fun. It's certainly a reset button for many, given that the New Year's was last night. certainly a reset for me.
Now, the event was free, but t-shirts were sold to benefit the beach patrol. Over in Bethany Beach, the celebration continued on the coast as runners and walkers hit the boardwalk for the annual Hair of the Dog Run. Organizers say the run has become a New Year's Day tradition, bringing the community together while encouraging fitness and fun to start the new year.
It means just starting the year on the right foot, so I need to be healthier, I need to do more activity, and so I'm going to do a walk challenge myself for January to do a mile outside every day. I've done that to frozen feet, so it's a great way to start that process as well.
The run raises funds for local scholarships and grants that support programs throughout the community, which is organized by the Quiet Resorts Charitable Foundation. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside into Ocean View. Ooh, you can just see it's a windy evening out there as we turn it over to our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams on our forecast.
Well, Maddie, one thing I can tell you, that is a little bit too much cold therapy for me, but okay. As we take a look at where we are right now in Lewis, we're holding a nice cold 28 degrees. Now, here's the thing that's really ironic. The winds are finally dying down, but the temperatures are tanking now. So we're still going to have to deal with uncomfortable wind chills, even though the winds are going to start backing off a bit for us. Now, we'll drop down to 25 degrees as early as 9 o'clock for this evening. And then as you take a look at what's happening, we're looking at it staying relatively clear. Now, we do have a small craft advisory that will stay in effect at least for another hour. It hasn't looked like it's going to be extended thus far, but the winds are dying down. It's being helpful, but yeah, we're still going to be dealing with temperatures that are tanking in the first place. It's not going to be helpful. So even as we go into tomorrow, we are going to drop down to the lower 20s, almost hitting the teen mark, but then a couple of days after that, we will definitely be well into that sweet spot of the teens. I'll talk more about that in your full forecast coming up. Till then, back to you, Maddie.
Paul, thank you. Delaware State Police have updated the timing for fallen Corporal Matthew Ty Snook's memorial service on Monday. His funeral is at the UD Bob Carpenter Center. State Police now say a public visitation is from 9 to noon. According to State Police, law enforcement passing review will be 12:45 p.m., followed by a memorial service at 1 and final honors. Snook's burial will be private. Health insurance costs are going up this year. Tax credits that helped low-income families afford their insurance plans on the federal marketplace have now expired after Congress failed to pass a bill to extend them. Jen Sullivan shows us just how much more you could be paying and the options out there to help.
Millions of Americans will be paying more for health insurance this year. That's because tax credits that help people pay for plans on the federal marketplace, known as Obamacare, have expired.
Sadly, it's no longer going to be affordable.
Jeremy Coolish says he lost his job in the spring, forcing him and his wife to get insurance through the marketplace. He says their current plan costs $392 with tax credits, but those subsidies are now gone.
Without subsidies, it would be something like $1,608.
Millions of Americans are in a similar dilemma. KFF estimates 24 million people signed up for insurance through the Affordable Care Act in 2025. Of those enrollees, roughly 92% received subsidies. Without those tax credits, KFF says average annual premium costs could rise by 114%.
People simply can't afford some of the premiums that have been happening in this coming year.
Zonjanice Jacobs is an insurance navigator in Florida. Every state employs navigators who are available to answer your questions for free.
They know what kind of prescriptions they're going to need or what kind of doctor's appointments they're going to need to go to or other procedures that they're going to have. We make sure that we walk through the process by looking at each one of those plans that fit within the confines of their budget.
Here are some other options. Many states have expanded the income qualifications for Medicaid. Go to healthcare.gov/lower costs to see if you qualify. Private insurance plans, lower premiums, but out-of-pocket costs may be higher and there may be more services not covered. Short-term medical plans, low monthly premium costs, but very high deductibles. To help lower prescription costs, many big pharmacies recommend using coupons through GoodRx. It's free. And AARP also offers free prescription discount cards. In New York, I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Still to come, a newly appointed police chief, David Moyer, his vision for Millsboro.
Taking a look at our forecast, we're looking for temperatures starting off in the lower 20s, slowly making their way to the 30s, but staying cold nonetheless.
But first, Thor the mascot, a new program at Cape Henlopen High School, spreading school spirit in secret. Up next.
When you think of high school, what do you think of? Is it, the football games, maybe the school play? Maybe it's the mascot. This week, reporter Emma Aiken shows us how at one high school, secrets do make friends.
First, the pants, then the shoes, next, the top, gloves, and finally, the mask. For the first time in school history, someone, or multiple people, at Cape Henlopen High School are taking on a new face and a new name. The anonymous mascot program allows students to be in the limelight without people knowing who they are.
It makes it very just exciting, and I'm happy that I'm a part of it, especially like the first group doing it and being able to do so many wonderful events, especially with all the other people that are helping me.
You heard it from Thor the Viking themselves. This is a team effort to keep the mascot's identity hidden throughout the school year.
It's just many secrets you have to make on the spot to make it actually work, and no one finds out.
On this day, Thor spent time at the Special Olympics Delaware bocce tournament, getting the energy up. Waving to fans, high fives all around.
How you doing?
Giving hugs, taking pictures.
Yeah, Mikey, let's go, Mikey.
Dancing, even stopping by some classes.
My main goal is like get the energy up, interact, maybe with like little kids, make sure they're happy, take photos with them, and then once I see people my age, I kind of like do the trendy things that kind of keep them excited and engaged with the mascot.
Who the mascot is remains a mystery, but the Viking spirit, that's known throughout the whole building.
I'm excited to see people's reaction at the end of the year when they find out who they are.
For Coastal Connections, I'm Emma Aiken.
Despite even a flurry or two here or there, the mainstay or the main focus of the forecast is going to be the unwanted wind chills that's going to be happening. I mean, take a look at this flag. You see how it's flying here in that wind and ocean view, for example? Temperatures are driving down even deeper, so to speak, into the 20s. And that's going to, with that amount of wind, it's going to tumble us into the teens pretty quickly, and that's not so comfortable. Even though the winds are backing down, that's a good thing, but still, we're going to drop to 23 degrees, for example, in the ocean view, with clouds eventually starting to thicken for us by the late night hours. But the bottom line is that we are trending downward. In fact, we are 2 to 5 to even 7 degrees cooler now than we were just 24 hours ago. So although the wind's backing down to a small craft advisory and expected to expire within the next, say by 6 o'clock for Indian Beach and a lot of the beaches along the Atlantic side of the peninsula, we're still expecting for the temperatures to tank. So yeah, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. It's still going to end up being pretty cold in the morning time with the wind chill eventually tickling the teens here. Now on the other side, the small craft advisory has been allowed to expire. But other than that, we're still staying a little bit breezy along the East Coast. Now we are looking out for a brief possible flurry that could pop through Easton quickly for us going into Thursday and Friday, but the winds are going to be the main concern, although they're pouring out of the northwest. Still, again, that cold, drier wind by 6 o'clock going into Saturday, and the winds pushing out of the north going into Sunday, picking up a little more momentum going into Sunday as well. They'll start swirling as we go into Monday. But Friday, winds are primarily out of the west, between 8 up to 12 miles per hour, still balancing between a little bit under and a little bit above the 40-degree mark for most locations. But when you take a look at the wind chill factor, we're going to dip by mid-morning down to 21, okay? But then we'll stay and hover in the low 20s as far as how it's going to feel. So with that being the case, 41 for the high in Georgetown, will warm to 41 in Cambridge, as well as Vienna and Fredericksburg, and we'll warm to 41 in Pocomoke City, Snow Hill, as well as Berlin. So you'll notice Friday, we see that brief snow, it pops in, it pops out very quickly. So it's kind of similar to what we kind of had today in the most northern portions of the state. Pretty mundane, but then as we go into Friday morning, we drop down to 28 degrees with cloud cover in place. And then the wind chill factor as well. The wind chill factor will drop down to the teens. And then by Saturday morning, we're down to 15. So here we go again. Winds aren't all that strong, but the temperatures aren't all that helpful either. Sunday morning, we drop down to 16, 17, 18 degrees, generally speaking, throughout the entire area. And then going into Monday, we're down to 15, 16, and 17 again. So yeah, this is unrelenting wind chills that we don't necessarily want. They're just going to stick around. Last but not least, we do have this touch of snow that could possibly hit Sunday morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, then it pulls out by 6 o'clock in the morning. That's about the most solid amount of snow shower activity that I'm expecting for us to have to deal with. So once again, you go with Saturday, we're going to dip down to 35 degrees in cloud cover, and then we're looking for it to stay cloudy on Saturday for Rehoboth Beach as well as Lewis. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We're staying with that cold for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Paul, thank you. Well, kind of sad, but this is the last day we're showing our holiday house. This is not sad though. Patricia and Lewis's Raggedy Ann tree. She sent that in for us to show off, and we are so grateful for it. Thank you, Patricia, and thank you everybody who sent in their decorations this year for our holiday house. In Millsboro, the newly appointed police chief, David Moyer, is stepping into town with a vision rooted in community and experience. Coast TV's Nicole Richter shows us what drives the man behind the badge.
Chief David Moyer is stepping into his new role with 17 years of law enforcement behind him, an experience he says has shaped him not just as an officer, but as a person.
Looking at how I've progressed throughout my career and seeing how the training really does kick in, it reignites a passion in me as far as making sure that these guys are trained and properly prepared, because you never know when a traffic stop's going to turn into the worst day of your life.
Over the years, Moyer has served in a range of roles, from the Marine Corps to patrol officer to detective, sergeant, and most recently as deputy chief.
It's very surreal. I remember sitting across the table from the chief at the time and telling him, or they asking me what I wanted to do with my career, and I'd say, oh, I want to be chief of police one day. And to actually be sitting here right now, it just, time has flown by.
He says each chapter of his career gave him a different perspective, especially on the people and the communities he served.
I can work here and protect the people here that are close and near and dear to me, and I've really developed a relationship with Millsboro that's a big part of my heart.
His time in law enforcement brought him face to face with families in crisis, something that he says influences how he leads today.
When I see justice brought, or a victim come back one day and thank me for the help I gave them, that is what I do it for. You know, I'm not one to cry, but in those moments I will get choked up, because it just shows that there is value to what we do here, and we can make a difference.
Now, as he takes the helm here in Millsboro, Chief Moyer says that the town is more than just his beat. It's home.
I love Millsboro, and it'll always have my heart. One day I'll be buried here.
For Chief Moyer, this badge represents more than a title. He says it represents the people he served over 17 years and the community he's now leading. In Millsboro, I'm Nicole Richter, Coast TV News.
As we take a live look outside into Laurel, one final check on your forecast after this break. Coming up new on Coast TV News at 6, a car into the water. Yeah, where firefighters made this rescue that's almost hard to believe. That story and more coming up at 6.
In Ocean City right now, we're holding at 31 degrees with the winds at about 12 miles per hour. The winds are starting to die down. That's a good news. Bad news, well, not so great news, is that temperatures are just tanking into the lower 20s as well. We'll drop down to 24 as early as 9 o'clock this evening with scattered cloud cover. We still have some active small craft advisories for Slaughter Beach, Broadkill Beach, Lewis, Rehoboth Beach down towards Indian Beach, towards Ocean View. And this reaches down from Ocean City down towards West Ocean City and down to Chincoteague. But along the other side, we're looking at the small craft advisories have been allowed to expire. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Brugstead, Mandalas, and Federico. The number to call is 443-880-9100. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. They make it real clear. These first 3 days here, that's cold, but next week, a lot warmer.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5. For more news and local weather, you can just download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Inside Edition is up next, but we will see you in just a little bit for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.